No, I don't want to give him a rematch.
I'd say that's his agents talking rather than. But just there's a rundown of the percentage that people got, and Amir Khan got less than 2% of the vote. Mark Cavendish got just under 50%.
Yeah.
Darren Clark got 12%, and you're thinking, a lot of people have voted, and yet, Mark Cavendish, who came first, and Darren Clark, who came second. Mark Cavendish got more than 4 times what Darren Clark got. And in my opinion, does that mean, it was such a one-sided affair. Was that correct? But in my opinion, if I was going to add women to the equation, and I would have, I'd have had Sarah Stevenson, I would have had Rebecca Adlington, and maybe Jessica Ennis, maybe. I think she had she won silver.
But I'm telling you, you can add those three. I just thought of another one for next year. Victoria Pendleton, that's a strong possibility. She's been in it before. She's a very, very talented cyclist.
Well, we will be. I am somebody who I have a very big interest in women's football. I got hooked. I watched the World Cup in England. My dad took me to a few games.
It was European, wasn't it? It wasn't the World Cup.
Yeah, no, it was. Schoolboy error there. Schoolboy error. Hashtag schoolboy error. And we've actually had quite a few people tweeting in about this subject. I've been doing my PR work for at the blahdblah on Twitter. You can follow us, and at Tom Rossini, at ThomasFeahemy.
And Dale Harris. No, I just want to clear up from last week. Now carry on.
And okay, we have had a few tweets. I'll pick the best few out, and Twitter is loading, so I'm probably going to have to stall for a few secs. But, okay, Gareth Topham, who is a sports journalist, wrote us a really good comment, and this is what he put. He put, for me, all aspects should be equal to male. If the ability is there, why not? And that is something which I agree with.
Yeah.
You look, though, at women's football in particular, and the games that were on last year. I watched them. I was down south. I watched a lot of them, and the games were enjoyable.
Yeah,
the games were competitive. There was no game where I thought, right, that team is going to lose, and that team will definitely win. It's going to be a heavy defeat.
It all goes back to the same old point, though, doesn't it? It's coverage. The public is not letting the public know about it. I'd love to watch some women's football, but. What channel is it on?
Well, I'll tell you. I will just say this. So, Sepp Blatter, if you are listening, I doubt you will. But your comment where you said that to make women's football more interesting, wear tighter shorts.
How he's still in charge?
How you are still in charge of FIFA? I do not know. At the end of the day, what you said there was a sexist comment. It was offensive, Sepp. And to be honest, I hope you won't be kicked out because you rig all the elections, don't you, Seth?
Well, it's just a corrupt.
Yeah. It's corrupt. And to be honest, I'd love it if the FA left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should.
And break maybe a few more countries and properly break away. But to do with the elections, I can't remember his name. There was an old Chilean footballer who was nominated by this group, the anti-corruption group against FIFA.
Yeah.
I listened to an interview about it. And the FA decided not to nominate him, and all he needed was an FA nomination.
What a surprise!
And he could have nominated for it. I mean, he probably wouldn't have got in, but it would have been.
It would have sent a message to FIFA.
Exactly.
Well, I think though I watch. Like I say, I watch women's football, and two footballers who I would love to give a big shout out to now. They're probably not going to listen, but Sue Smith and Faye White. I think these two are two absolutely outstanding footballers.
Well, I'd tell you, someone I was going to take the wrong way if I said it like that. I'm about to say someone I used to really enjoy watching, but I meant football skills-wise.
Yeah.
Kelly Smith. What a player. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff she did, you think she could definitely cope in men's football, not even joking about that.
And of course she scored twice for England against Cyprus in the Cyprus Cup.
Well, we've actually just literally 2 minutes ago received another tweet from Cassie Irving, and she said, unfortunately, women's football doesn't have enough money invested into it. No. It is the most popular women's sport in the country. In order for women for women's England team, for the women's team to reach their full potential in the Olympics, World Cup and Euros, more money is required.
Well, let me just pick up on that.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point. Because at my last college, this was spoken about, and the teachers basically told us that women's football is actually the fastest growing sport in this country. That's including males as well. So that shows the demand for it, and the women want to get involved in it, but there's not enough out there for them. I remember when I was younger, there was 2 girls in our football team early on, but then they struggled to find a team of their own because there's just not the teams out there for them to play, and these girls want to play.
It just seems to me that the FA are not doing enough to promote women's sport in terms of, getting it out there to the wider public and getting it on TV. I mean, I didn't notice any huge FA camp when Women's World Cup was on.
No. Well, I watched them, but I missed a few because I wasn't told. There was no real, when it was England v Slovenia, for the England World Cup, it was for a few days. England v Slovenia, Wednesday, 2:00. You've got to, you can't miss it. Now it's, it was like, England are on.
Well, linked in with that, it's like the rugby the other day when England played Wales. Straight after that, on the red button, was the women's game.
And let me tell you, I watched that game as well, and I thought, hey, this is really good, And in my opinion, what should happen is, if you don't invest in women's football, then let women play with the men.
Yeah.
I honestly think Faye White would happily get into the Arsenal team. I honestly do. The male Arsenal team, I think she'd be centre back. I honestly do. And people say, they're not physical enough. Well, that's, in my opinion, sexist. But in my opinion, I don't think there are, every player in the women's league would fit into the male league. But I honestly think there are maybe 10, maybe 15 players throughout the WSL, the Women's Super League, who would fit in and play in the Premier League.
Well, that's another thing. The league in England isn't professional, is it?
No, it's not. That's another thing holding it back. But I was just going to say, I'm a Newcastle fan.
Thanks for
Kelly
that,
Smith. if she wants to play for Newcastle, anytime. I'd
give Jack a call.
Give me a call.
I mean, I know a couple, also like Rachel Yankee as well. But the reason I know a few is because they're not mentioned about. Like I say, I can't really watch these games because when are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
And if you offer it to someone to watch, I'm sure they'll watch it. But it's just not being put out there, and that's, I think, their biggest problem.
I mean, I didn't even know Newcastle had a women's team until I started following the players on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, that is shocking.
That is pretty shocking, isn't it? I just assumed we didn't have it because I never heard about it. It was never on any of the Newcastle websites. It's just wasn't there.
Well, let me tell you another story. When I was at Loughborough, actually, the Loughborough girls team beat the Chelsea ladies reserves, I think it was. And if that happened in the male version, that'd be a massive story. But we were on, obviously, at the college, and we were basically told by a teacher, like a couple of weeks after. But, I think that's pretty big, And the good thing was Trevor Brooking did go down and see him and that, which was good to see. But need to do more stuff like that to promote the women's game.
But what annoys me is, as well, everyone people tell me, the Premier League, the SPL, the English Premier League, that it's always one or two teams who do well, and then the rest fade away. In the Women's Super League, it went down to the last game. You talk about drama. I watched that. I watched the last game. Arsenal had to win. They won. Okay, Arsenal won again, and Arsenal women dominate.
Yes.
But last year was the first time in quite a while that they have really.
Well, is it right that the Arsenal women's manager is Kitman.
Yes, that is right.
For the Arsenal team.
And
Because
he's
I
been
know that
there
was
for
right
years,
2 years
hasn't he?
ago, but I'm not sure if that was still the case.
He's been there for years and he's done a brilliant job. I mean, one season, this annoyed me as well, because this hardly got reported. They won. They clean sweep. They won 4 trophies, including a European trophy.
Champions League.
What a monumental effort that is! What an achievement!
Yeah, when a team like Liverpool win the Carling Cup, it is splashed across the back pages. You know, Arsenal ladies did all